Simeone, that balance is incredibly valuable. Atletico have traditionally been associated with defensive organization, intensity, physicality and aggressive pressing. But modern Atletico cannot rely exclusively on defending. They need midfielders who can survive under pressure. They need players capable of winning duels and immediately turning possession into attacks. They need players who can cover ground, and Hjulmand brings many of those characteristics. At 27, he is also arriving with significant experience rather than being purely a developmental signing. That is important. Atletico are not building an academy project. They are trying to compete immediately, and Hjulmand could become one of the foundations of their midfield. LIGA joins Atletico Madrid. Then came another major announcement. LIGA has officially joined Atletico Madrid from Paris Saint-Germain. The South Korean international has signed a contract that runs until June 2031, and Atletico have reportedly invested around €35 million in the deal. This is one of the most interesting transfers in the entire Spanish market, because Lee is not simply arriving as another squad player. He represents a very different kind of attacking profile. Lee is technically gifted, creative and comfortable operating in tight spaces. He can play as an attacking midfielder. He can play from the wing. He can operate behind a striker. And he can contribute to set pieces. For a team like Atletico, that versatility could be extremely valuable. There is also a fascinating personal connection to Spanish football. Lee already knows La Liga. He developed through the Valencia Academy and played senior football in Spain before moving to Mallorca and eventually Paris Saint-Germain. So this is not a player arriving in Spain without knowing the league. He is returning to an environment that he already understands. And Atletico clearly believe that he can bring creativity to their attack. The move also has a significant commercial dimension. Lee is one of the most recognizable South Korean footballers in the world, and Atletico's decision to sign him is particularly interesting given the club's increasing attention to the Asian market. The timing is also notable. Atletico are scheduled to visit South Korea during preseason, including a meeting with Manchester City in Seoul, so Lee Kang-in could immediately become one of the central figures in Atletico's international promotion strategy. But the football side is still the most important part. The key question is whether Simeone can integrate Lee into his system without sacrificing the defensive intensity that has traditionally defined Atletico. Because creativity is one thing, playing for Simeone is another. Lee will have to prove that he can contribute when Atletico do not have the ball. If he does that, his technical qualities could make him a hugely important player. Atletico's new look now put all of these moves together: Grimaldo, Hjulmand, Lee Kang-in, and Julian Álvarez still at the center of the transfer conversation. Suddenly, Atletico's summer strategy looks much clearer. They are trying to combine experience, technical quality, physical strength and attacking creativity. Grimaldo can provide quality from the left. Hjulmand can bring control and physical presence in midfield. Lee can provide creativity, and Álvarez, if he remains at the club, can lead the attack. That could give Atletico a very interesting balance. The biggest question is whether this squad can evolve without losing the identity that made Simeone's Atletico so difficult to play against. That is the challenge, because Atletico don't need to become Barcelona. They don't need to copy Real Madrid. They need to become a better version of Atletico Madrid. And these transfers suggest that is exactly what they are attempting. Real Madrid. Denzel Dumfries is already official. Now let's move to Real Madrid. The club have already completed several major pieces of business this summer, and one of the most important confirmed arrivals is Denzel Dumfries. Real Madrid officially announced an agreement with Inter Milan for the transfer of the Dutch fullback on the 5th of July 2026. Dumfries signed a contract that keeps him at the Santiago Bernabeu until the 30th of June 2030. According to Reuters, the fee was not officially disclosed, although reports indicated that his release clause of approximately €20 million was activated. This is an extremely interesting move from a tactical perspective. Dumfries is not simply a traditional right-back. He can provide width, he can attack the penalty area, he can make powerful runs, and he brings physicality. For Real Madrid, that can create another dimension. If the team has elite technical players operating centrally, having a fullback who can aggressively attack from wide areas gives the opposition another problem. And Real Madrid clearly want to make their squad more dynamic. Dumfries also arrives after several successful seasons at Inter, so Madrid are getting a player who has already experienced high-pressure football and Champions League competition. This is not simply a signing for the future. It is a signing designed to help immediately. And that is a recurring theme in Madrid's transfer window. They are trying to rebuild and compete at the same time. But now comes the biggest Real Madrid rumor, and this is where things become truly explosive. Rodri. Yes. The possibility of Rodri returning to Madrid is suddenly one of the biggest stories in European football. Manchester City want the Spanish midfielder to sign a new contract, but according to recent reporting, Rodri has not yet reached an agreement on an extension. At the same time, Real Madrid have reportedly revived their interest and are considering a move. This is not a straightforward transfer. There are several complications. First, Rodri is under contract with Manchester City until 2027. Second, City obviously have no reason to make the deal easy. Third, Rodri has recently undergone serious injury-related issues and is expected to undergo back surgery, which adds another layer of uncertainty to any potential transfer. But Madrid's interest makes sense. Rodri is exactly the kind of midfielder that Real Madrid could use. A player who can control tempo, a player who can protect the defense,